Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Branch, but from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, Am I the arsehole here for breaking off my engagement because my fiance made an offensive joke about me to his friends? Buckle up. It's long, and I'm sorry about that. I, 28 female, and my fiance, 32 male, have been together for 5 years. For the sake of anonymity, I'll be referring to him as John. John and I have a wonderful and loving relationship for these past 5 years, and I truly saw myself with him for the rest of my life. We've had our ups and downs, but not once has John ever made me feel like I wasn't enough. He supported me in all of my endeavors and dreams, and our relationship even survived 9 months of being long distance, as I'd been sent to another state for work in 2021. I truly love John, and even now, I still love him, but I have my doubts now about how he feels about me. A little context. I grew up fat. I had been fat when we met, and for the first 3 years of our relationship, I was fat. This isn't a problem and has never been in our relationship, but it was something I had a problem with about myself. I wanted to be healthier and to simply lose the weight because I knew it'd make me happier. John was supportive of this. He said he'd love me no matter what form I took because it was my heart and soul he'd fallen for. I'd believed that as I had no reason not to. John has always made me feel like he loves me and made me feel desired. But now I've lost half of what I weighed before. And at my age, and due to being overweight my entire life, I have plenty of loose skin. I'm absolutely insecure about it, and John knows this. He's made every effort to reassure me that he still finds me beautiful, and that he looks at my body as the evidence of how hard I've worked and how far I've come. He reassures me that he still loves being intimate with me and loves my body, even as it's changed. I felt so lucky to have a man who loved me so unconditionally and truly. Recently, John and I had gone out with a bunch of our friends, and we'd not been able to align our schedules until now. Whenever we go out with a big group like this, John and I usually spend the beginning of the evening and the end of the evening together at the party. At some point in the middle, we always split off to go socialize with our friends separately. When it came to that time, I went to rejoin John. I'd seen him with his best friend and a couple of others engaged in conversation. John's back was to me, and his friends were all chuckling about something as I approached. But I stopped dead in my tracks when I heard John tell his best friend that my body looked like a deflated weather balloon, and that it was hard for him to not laugh when we're intimate and my body moved. I'd never expected the man who spoke so warmly and loving to me always to talk about me in such a way. John was the man I was going to spend the rest of my life with. He'd known my insecurities and still loved me anyway. At least, so I thought. Needless to say, I was hurt and angry and devastated. I walked up to him, handed him his ring without a word, and I left. I didn't even go to our home. I went to a hotel and stayed there. I turned off my phone and just took a couple of days to just cry out my heartache. When I turned my phone back on, there were messages and voicemails from John and our friends. Most of John's messages were apologetic and begging me to talk and come home. But then the most recent were the opposite. He said I was cruel and cold for ignoring him and breaking off the engagement without warning, or so much as an explanation. When I responded to him and told him I'd heard what he'd said, John told me that I was acting like a child because I took his joke too seriously, that he was just trying to make his friend laugh. I asked him why he needed to make his friend laugh at my expense by telling him about my body and how it looked to him, or how he struggled not to laugh at me when we're intimate. He didn't respond. Instead, as I'm writing this, I'm still receiving messages from our friends telling me that he's sorry and that I should see how miserable he is without me. I'm so cold and a bitch for running off like that instead of giving John a chance to explain himself. I'm hurt. I genuinely don't know if I was too rash in breaking off our engagement, but the only thought in my head, and what is still sticking with me now, is that when I was fat, people mocked me because of my body all the time. I lost the weight only to still have people mock me because of my body. And it just so happens to be the one person I allowed to see me at my most vulnerable who showed me that. I know John's hurting, or at least seems to be, but so am I. Should I have heard him out? 5 years and I didn't even give him a chance to explain or to really apologize. I just shut him out immediately. I still love the man. Those feelings don't go away overnight, but I don't want to hear his apology. I don't want his explanation. I'm just angry and hurt, and my friends seem to think I'm throwing away my relationship over something easily fixable. Firstly, I don't think the friends have heard the whole truth here. I reckon he's told them some twisted side of the story to try and get himself out of it somehow. And this isn't a joke. I mean, how the hell do you go back to trusting someone like that who's talked about your back in such a disgusting, horrible way? Like you said, he took your most vulnerable insecurity, one that you shared with him in confidence, and turned it into a punchline for his friends. And even worse is that he's mocked your intimate moments together. The time when, you trusted him completely. And I think his reaction to it says it all, that he's gone from apologetic to angry, that you wouldn't immediately forgive him. And you're not throwing your relationship away over a joke, as some people seem to be saying. You're protecting yourself from someone who's proved that they don't deserve your trust. But OK Yak says, oh my fucking god, he's an ass, and you deserve better. From your fiance and from your friends. All part of telling his friend that he had a hard time not laughing during intimacy with you is funny to him. I'm furious on your behalf, and I don't even know you. Not the arsehole. Usual Canary says, can the friends who think this is easily fixable explain how it gets fixed? OP's insecurity is about her body. She worked hard and lost weight. With a bunch of clapping emojis. Absolutely well done, OP. Her fiance decided to crack jokes, not just about OP's insecurity, but specifically at the times when that is on full display and OP would need validation. How is OP supposed to get intimate with John from here on out without feeling low? Let those friends explain that, because I'm real lost what their logic is here. OP, see this as the warning it is, and heed the warning by walking away. Look at it this way. If you had not walked up to them, you'd be forever the butt of their jokes and be oblivious to it. Now that you know what you know, you have to wonder what else John used about you to make himself feel better. Break up and remember something. Flabby skin is temporal. It goes away. A little more hard work and you will not even have memory of it. Your dignity is forever. Let John have his laughs. Have your dignity. Well done on the weight loss. I'm still struggling with a gut. Not the arsehole, and sorry this happened to you. Hurricane Aura says, they think it's easily fixable because they think OP should just shut up and pretend not to be hurt about something extremely hurtful being done to her. So sometime later, OP comes in with her update and says, firstly, thank you, all of you. Every one of you who offered solid advice and even just kind words. It meant the world to me. Second, I've left John. I didn't intend to go back or try to fix things when it's not my responsibility to do so in the first place, and it's not something that can be fixed anyhow. A lot of you said it'd be hard to forget that it said that, and you are all right. I saw him once just to move my things out with the help of my brother. Truly my hero in all of this, and despite the apologies and begging for me not to go, all I could hear was his joke and the way he laughed when he said it. It was like it was all I would ever hear from his mouth, no matter what he actually said. I told him that if he actually loved me, he would have never treated me like a joke, and that was the last thing I said to him. He's tried calling, but I've blocked his number. I'm staying with my brother, and John's been smart enough to not come by because my brother told him if he walked onto his property, the only way he'd be leaving is in cuffs or a bag. John seemed damn intimidated by that, thankfully, so I feel safe here. Going forward, I know I'll be okay. I'm going to take time to focus on myself, move and work towards my own goals. I think it'd be a good way to let go of this relationship and what could have been by reminding myself of who I am outside of it. Thank you again. Edit, I showed my brother these posts in the comments and he said he'd buy you all a drink if he could, and could reasonably afford it. Second edit. I don't want to have to explain this over and over just in case, so I'll put it here. If you're going to bring up the unsent letter I've posted 4 years ago, here's the explanation. John knows about that letter. It was something I wrote because of a suggestion from my therapist to resolve my thoughts about a boyfriend I had before John that used to make me anxious when I wasn't responded to. He actively supported my writing as it knew it would help me get the feelings out and words I wished I could have said to that man. He's even the one who suggested I post it in the unsent letters Reddit because it's the digital equivalent of putting a letter in a bottle and sending it adrift at sea. Maybe it will reach him, maybe it won't. but at least you'll have let it go. That's a direct quote she said. We were very happy and supportive of each other. He's just done something now I can't look past or forget. And last edit because it's beginning to irritate me. That letter was posted 4 years ago. It was not written 4 years ago. It was written like 2 months after John and I got together. He and I had a long-standing friendship before our relationship began, so he knew all about the ex-boyfriend and how everything went down. A year into our relationship, I found the letter when we were clearing out old stuff in my apartment, and we had a good chuckle about it. He encouraged me to post it on the Unsent Letters subreddit as a final farewell to the letter and that chapter of my life, and to show that I was free of it and doing so much better. Those of you hung up on it are free to speculate how that makes me an awful person or whatever it is you believe, but I'm secure in the truth of it and what went on. I never expected for people to latch on to something from 4 years ago and somehow use it to justify their harsh opinion of me and their presumed narrative, but hey, it's the internet, that's what people do. I should have known. Anyway, aside from that, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen, offer your words, whether they be kind or not, and for simply letting me feel heard. I wish every single one of you success and good tidings. And the letter described a previous relationship that ended with ghosting and mixed signals and unresolved feelings, and how her ex would pop in and out of her life, leaving her wondering if she meant anything at all to him. But 3 of the last comments on that one said, from aggravating style said, I'm flawed, he's mad you won't let him explain himself. What's to explain? He said what he said. Block the numbers of any friends that's defending him as well. Melodic Sale says, when he or his friends say let him explain himself, I only hear he wants to rewrite the story so he doesn't sound like the arsehole he is. There is not much to explain. The situation is clear. Curse says, there are some things that are unforgivable, and that there's no coming back from. If you truly love and value something or someone, you'd never risk losing them by making such a cruel joke. The thought wouldn't even cross your mind. Hopefully John learns something from what his behavior has cost him and is kinder to people in the future. But even if he is, you absolutely made the right choice. You deserve someone who wouldn't even think of something so vile, let alone voice it for a cheap laugh. You should be very proud of yourself for knowing your worth, because if you know it, you will draw people to you who recognize your worth as well. Be kind to yourself as you heal from this. What he did says a lot about him, not about you. And I was left equally floored by how the fuck he expects to come back from that. How is he going to try and explain that apart from gaslight OP? There's no way of explaining it. Awful, awful person. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story from Mindless WW Surfing, who says, am I the arsehole for laughing at a customer? This happened to me yesterday at work and is something I will never forget. I work in an animal shelter and had a customer come in who I remembered from a few weeks ago. A man who had adopted this cat named Nelson. I remember this because Nelson was one of the few cats we listed as sensitive. So we know to keep them in a private room when they won't get bothered by crazy younger cats. Because he came from a home where there was trauma. Due to this, he is extremely skittish and can misbehave on occasion. The man came in with Nelson in the carrier and came to the front desk asking to talk to our manager and that he had a complaint. I asked him what the complaint was, but he insisted he wanted to talk to the manager, Alan, who helped him pick Nelson out. It takes me a few minutes to find Alan because we are generally all over the place here, and when we come back, Alan asks the guy what the issue is. Is the cat sick or did it hurt you, etc. General things we ask when people roll up trying to return a pet. In most cases, we can work it out to make sure the animal doesn't have to be returned. I stuck around because I wanted to hear why this guy was trying to return the cat, because I'm nosy. Ain't we all? He said he refuses to listen to any order I give him. Alan and I were a little puzzled and asked what he meant. Alan said, we don't know his full training history, but most cats know the general word no because of the tone behind it. Have you tried? And then the guy cut him off and said, he's choosing not to listen to me. I told him the rules when we got home and he has ignored every single one. The guy went on a rant saying how the cat was told to use a litter box, but he pissed on the floor multiple times. How he told the cat not to go in the spare room, but he still does. And so on. Right then, it clicked to me. The guy thinks the cat understands what he is saying. I asked him, wait, Do you think the cat can understand you? Like he understands the words you say to him?" The man tilted his head and looked at me like I was an idiot and said, "He is choosing not to. That's the fucking issue." I couldn't help it, but I burst out laughing so hard I almost teared up. That's just never anything I've heard of. Someone genuinely thinking animals can understand what a human was saying, like they were also human. Long story short, I was told to leave the room by Alan, who figured out the issue. And I did kind of feel like a dick after, because I guess the guy had never had a pet before and hadn't really been around animals other than a few well-trained dogs. And he legit thought animals could understand you. My boss wasn't mad at me at all, but told me I acted very unprofessional, which I do agree to some extent. I don't think I was an ass, but I know I should not have laughed so hard. I was on kennel duty the next 2 days. I shouldn't have laughed in front of him, but damn, I couldn't help it. Edit, the cat was returned, but in this case, it seems to be the best outcome. Also, shelters aren't always the worst situation for an animal. We love our babies at our shelter. Not case for all though. Edit 2, I will update when he finds his forever home. I will take him myself, but have a 13-year-old cat and a 2-year-old lab, so it would not be the ideal household for the little guy. I was kind of left thinking, even if the cat could fully understand the human language, they're so sassy, they wouldn't give a shit anyway. Like I always say, we used to have this cat come round. I haven't seen him in a long time, to be fair. You guys called him Waffle Cat. And he comes round, has a little pet. And then when he's had enough, he was like, "That's enough. Fuck off. I'm going to go and sleep on your bed." But some comments from OP, who says he's a great cat when one-on-one, would be really good in a quiet single-person household. I have high hopes he will, as we're making him Animal of the Week. Most shelters don't have background checks or anything. That's a rescue center. They're also very small, 10 to 13 dogs at a time typically, and 3 rooms for cats. Someone wants the animal, they can usually get it in that day, unless the animal is on medicine or just had surgery or hasn't been added to the system yet. Yeah, I'm not trying to bash the place, but I adopted my cat before working here, and I adopted him after 30 minutes. All I had to do was fill out a paper and boom, he was mine. We try and make them fill out more papers now and get copy of their license and so on, but we are small and usually all adopters are locals. We do a 30-day per check where you bring the animal in to get a free checkup, and we get to see how the pet is doing. We make any adopter sign a contract saying the animals can't be given away or sold. It's about 3 pages long. I agree, and feel bad about it. If he comes in again, he told my boss he still wanted to find an animal. I'm going to apologize, but also educate him on animals. Hope he continues, no, the guy wasn't a weirdo or anything at all. He just didn't understand animals. That's totally valid, and I wish I could have held my laugh in to be able to educate him a little. He's still interested in adopting, and my boss has a scheduled appointment to help him find a better matched cat, and also help him understand their species more. I'm thinking he's just a bit of a loner, and I would hate for him to be all alone. Everyone deserves a pet. After going into work today, my boss said the guy didn't leave mad, and found some humor in it after my boss explained to him that sometimes well-trained dogs can understand their commands because of repetition and training, but animals can't understand full conversations and stuff like that. The guy agreed that what he said was off the wall, and even laughed before making another appointment for a one-on-one pet visit. I agree, and I posted an update on the situation. I didn't ask what happened after I left the room. TLDR, the guy wasn't mad and even found humor in it, and made a one-on-one visit for next week to come find a cat. Not a weird guy, just a recluse type who hasn't been around animals. I think his misunderstanding is valid. Opie says it's hard. I adopted my cat as an adult. He was a grumpy orange tabby who was impossibly fat. The minute I saw him, I knew I needed him. That was about 5 years ago. I adopted my black lab a year ago as a puppy because I really wanted to train him. I feel a little bad about adopting a puppy because they're the ones to go first. But I'm planning on adopting a 3 to 6 year old dog in the next few months. If I lived in a big house, I would have all the animals. I don't plan on having kids. I'm only 24 though, and adopting a bunch of animals instead. At the rate our planet is deteriorating, I don't know if bringing kids into it is the best idea personally. Lots of fur babies in need anyways. I'm saying that the difference between shelters and rescues, and that's why they're 2 separate things. Shelters do not conduct interviews like rescues do. You fill forms out and take the animal the same day. Rescues can take up to months to get past after all inspections. If someone has a red flag, then they won't be able to adopt the animal and will need to be evaluated, but that's rare. So sometime later, OP did come in with an update and said, "Good news, ladies and gents. Some of you may remember my previous post. If not, read it because it's hilarious and has a cute cat. The news: our boy Nelson has found his forever home. He got adopted 8 days ago, and I've been waiting to see if it's stuck before posting. Nelson became a top priority to adopt out, as he was one of our most difficult but favourite cats we took care of. He became Pet of the Month of an older gentleman who came in, get this, with a printed out copy of our Facebook post. It was very adorable of him. The man automatically took us as a great candidate for Nelson, since he was an experienced cat owner. He has a bit of a sad story. His wife passed last year and the 18-year-old tabby passed away 4 months ago. He was very lonely and wanted to get a new friend, but didn't want to get a young cat. He's older and doesn't have the energy to take care of a demanding cat. Nelson was absolutely perfect. I've seen very, very heartwarming moments with pets and their new families, but this one was a top. As you guys remember, Nelson is a cranky arsehole that you can't help but love. He's not really nice and he is standoffish, but I shit you not, when we brought him into the meeting room, he pranced over to the man and hopped onto his lap. My jaw almost hit the floor. After 30 minutes of Nelson going apeshit over this man, he was adopted and went off to his new home. The man has sent us photos and updates of Nelson since then, and it seems to be going very, very well. I guess he speaks cat. I won't be posting photos as the man is in them, and you know, I'm not trying to get in trouble at work again. Thank you guys for being Nelson's biggest fans, and I'm stoked that both of them got a happy ending together. I just absolutely love the sassy attitude of cats. Another cat around where I live, only usually see it in the summertime when the sun starts to come out because it lays around everywhere. It's got quite a big circle where it goes really. But in the summertime you always catch him in the grass, and when you're walking past, he's got like no tail for some reason. I'm not sure what happened to him. But whenever you walk past, he just meows at you, still lays there not giving a shit. And you have to go over and give him a little stroke, and then he just like sort of like rolls around and just enjoys it. And then when he's had enough, he just like sort of puts his paw on you and sort of just gently pushes it away. Like, that's enough now. I'm done. Love that cat. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.